Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another beautiful day with us on Live with Lloyd. I am your host, astronumerologist Lloyd Strayhorn. And as you see, I promised you months ago that I would have this lady back to get in your financial business. She's not going to do it in that way, but we were talking and it got so juicy. I said, hold it. But anyway, this is Dr. Jana Woodhouse to be joining us in just a moment. And I do want to thank everybody very, very much for joining me and spending your valuable time and effort and comments and suggestions and things of that nature. Um, but let me do this before we do it. Let me do the Live with Lloyd Cosmic Forecast. As you see, this is where the joy of numerology is the joy of learning and enlightenment. And I have to do that because normally I'll get into it's Monday, so and so and so, because I forget to please like, please share, please subscribe. And only if you really mean it. You know what I'm saying? Share with other people if you find the information uh, helpful. And if you like it, definitely let us know. If you don't, I'm cool with that. Ain't nothing 100%. And subscribe. This way you can be informed about what's going on every Monday and Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So this is Monday. It is the 12th of December of 2022. And notice all the twos are lined up. It's really 1 2 1 2 2 0 2 2. So anybody born on this day other than February the 22nd of 2022 or December 22nd coming up of 2022 is going to be super, super sensitive because that's the nature of it too. But anyway, the sun is in Sagittarius, the moon is in Leo, so it's a fire sign with a fire moon. It's a 9 universal month that's ruled by fire. It's an 11 universal week, and believe it or not, ones are ruled by the element of fire. It's a 3 universal day, which is fire. So this is a kind of a fired up day, so to speak. And if you're born on the 3rd, 12th, 21st, or 30th of the month, well, good for you. This is like to be a good day. But that is it. And so, without further ado, I'm going to get this off the screen a second. And I'm going to have us join our beautiful guest, Dr. Jana Woodhouse. How are you, Doctor?
Oh, greetings. I am blessed and highly favored and energized. I'm with you.
Thank you. Listen, when I first had you on, you said something was very interesting that really kind of surprised me. And the first thing you said was giving a lesson to the parents taking advantage of their children's social security and whatnot. What were you talking about for those that missed that tip?
Well, the thing is that one of the things in this world that in our community, not the world, but in our community, is the fact that we have a tendency to mess up our credit, and then we go take our children's credit so that we can open up the Con Edison bill, the cell phone, all those things that we need our Social Security for. So then we mess it up for them if we don't pay the bills on time, and now they can't get anything. But what do? Now they perpetuate this problem by when they have children, they use their Social Security, and it never gets right.
So it's almost like a generational thing if we're not aware.
It has happened over the ages, and I thought it had stopped until I was doing a presentation and I said, oh yeah, when we get to credit, I said, I know nobody here got any bad credit. I said, but if you know somebody. And then I said, but if you do, the key is that you've got to be careful, especially about using your family members. You want to get something, you want to open up a bank account, you want to, your credit is all messed up because your parents have messed up your credit because they messed up their credit. So it gets generational. Let's stop that. Let's work on it. Let's clean it up. We have on Soul City Network, we have Tyrone Glover, and it's Leverage Your Credit. He does that every Tuesday at 6 p.m. He talks about, and he goes deep into credit. He is truly a credit doctor. I tell folks, when you need to get your credit straight, you better call on Tyrone.
Yeah, that would be a point. What is the magic now about a credit score. It didn't seem to be that important a while ago, but now you can barely do anything. And to my pleasant surprise, you told me that a person can't even now get a job unless they now look at their credit.
They
And I'm
will
saying,
look.
why would they look at
Your
their credit?
credit score is almost part of your resume. It's almost like, we tell our young folks that when they get ready to go into the job market, that they got to watch what they put on the Facebooks and the Instagrams and stuff, because people watch. People go to see what you're talking about. Well, your credit score holds a lot. And a lot of people don't find out until they go for certain things like a car. And a lot of us don't know that there are three levels to your credit score. Okay, so we
Really?
all know the three reporting agencies, the major, but there's like 20 reporting agencies, but there's three specific. You got Experian, and you got Equifax, and you've got oh, I forgot the last one. Begins with a T. Oh, TransUnion. And so we know those because those are the
Mhm.
ones that are the most prevalent. So think about it. If you are getting ready to get an apartment, going out into the world, you need to get an apartment. They're going to look at your credit score because that tells whether or not you're viable. Are you responsible? And what have you been doing? That's, do you pay your bills on time? All of that stuff talks about you. But now, because people are very skeptical with folks, uh, when you go for a job, they ask you, can they pull your credit? And if they see
Why?
that
If you, I mean, going for a job, you're not paying a bill. Am I
no,
right?
but it talks about your credibility.
Uh,
Is that, you see, it's about, do you pay your bills on time? Are you a credit risk? Is there a way that you may be doing something that could be detrimental to the company? People get into tight binds and they'll do whatever's necessary to get themselves out. And so, you know, it's something that used to be a small issue. Now it's a bigger one because we have more
mhm.
people on this planet. And so now they can sift out and get who's who. But what happens is that social security number, that is the one that tells on you, because once they submit that social security number out there, it tells whether you pay your taxes on time. Are you in a tax problem? It tells whether or not whether you are able to sustain your livelihood, or are you in trouble. All of this stuff is important, because who do you really want someone working for you that isn't credible, that doesn't have their um, credit ratings high enough, or even if it's just mediocre, but at least have something where it's not a lot of blemishes on. Just like I know a lot of people, and of course, I would love to have people come into my industry, especially the financial service industry, because we need to have folks that look like us. We only represent a good 1% of the financial advisors in this world of color.
Wow.
So, but there's a problem there. You can't become a financial advisor if your stuff is shady. You got to get your act together. But that works on our side. On
But you
other
said now
people,
there were three levels of
yes,
credit scores. You got the
right.
credit bureaus
You got the
among the
credit
many,
bureaus.
but
But
then
then
what
I'm glad you
levels? I
brought
didn't
me
even know
back
there
to
were
that.
levels.
Yeah, there's levels, because like, I'm glad you brought me back to this, is that you have the situation of where you have a credit score that is related to auto loans. You have a credit score that's related to credit cards. Okay. And then you have a credit score that allows you to buy homes.
Interesting.
And all of them can be a little bit different. They can be different in the sense that you can have, because you might have had a car and you paid it off and you paid it on time. So there you are, about a 700 score. But when it comes down to your credit cards, you don't pay those. You pay the minimum all the time, and you have big, large balances. That might bring you to a 600.
You know, it's interesting. I had a gentleman on about a month ago. His name Will Roundtree, out of
Hmm.
Las Vegas, and he was talking about credit scores. And he says your credit score can make for cheaper money.
Yes.
And I didn't understand it at the time. So let's say a person is going to buy a car, two people. You know, they're going to buy a new car, inexpensive one. They're all expensive, but inexpensive one considering that it can get really exorbitant. One has a credit score of 500, one has a credit score of 700. The higher the credit is, the cheaper the, I guess, the monthly installments will be.
The interest rate. We always hear, and this is something, here goes the numbers, is that you hear on the TV inflation. And as inflation, the Federal Reserve is trying to bring the inflation down. Now, what's inflation? Inflation is basically your power to buy, your buying power. So that means that, as we can see, we go to the store now compared to when we did yesteryear, your bills are a lot higher now. As a matter of fact, the last time I went just a few weeks ago to shop, the seasonings in the store was in the same container, but it was less in there. That's inflation. That's
Mm-hmm.
what we call it really shrink station because it's
Mm-hmm.
everything is shrinking.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so that's one level. So now the thing is, you want to go and get a car or you want to buy a home. Do you realize that with your credit score makes a decision of how much you're going to have to pay for that? With inflation going up, we're now at an average of about 7 to 8% in inflation. So that means for every dollar, our value of our the buying power of our dollar has really shrunk down.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's where we're at, when you get ready to buy something, if your credit score is low, you're going to pay 9, 10, maybe 20% for that same dollar. And that's that whole thing that I tell people in the book, our How Money Works Stop Being a Sucker book. Got to put it up.
Oh yeah, I've got it. I'm going to put it on the screen later
My
too.
lesson book that I tell folks to use. Two of my partners wrote it, and it tells about the rule of 72, how fast your money doubles. But with credit, it's how much money your debt will grow with your interest rates being so high. We people right now, they have loans out for homes. People are losing their homes because they're losing their jobs. And so with that, their interest rates on their homes could be 9, 10, 12%. That means if they're paying the minimum on a 12% loan, then that balance is going to basically never get paid. It'll take them about 25 years to get out of that debt.
Wow.
So you want lower interest rates. Can you get lower interest rates? Yes, the interest rates there are, we did a few months ago, we had low interest rates. We had as low as 2 and 3% on car loans, on home loans, on credit cards. A lot of people don't even know with their credit cards. You've been with a credit card company for 5+ years and they're still charging you 20%, 23%, you should be outraged. You go back and tell them, look, I've been with you. I've been a good client. We've worked together. Now it's time for you to lower this interest rate. And if they don't, you go find someplace else to go. If you've
So
been a
you're saying, so you're advising that card holders that have held on to cards, bank cards, whatever cards, for a number of years, and they're still being charged outrageous from rates of 17 to 20 something percent interest a year, that they are entitled to go back to that company or bank that issued the card and tell them you want to work out a deal.
yeah, we want to negotiate. We need time to talk because they make money on your money. And that's one of the things inside the book is the rule of 72. They take your money and they'll pay you 1% on your money, which means it'll take you 72 years for your money to double. So you put $1 in the bank,
Wow.
72 years from now, it's going to be $2. All right. But they're taking that same money that you give them and they're taking it and loaning it out at interest rates of 20%, which means that every three,
Wow.
yeah, every 3 years, really, it's almost every 3 months, they are making money on your money. So they don't mind giving you the 1% when they're getting 19 more on it. They're using your money. I tell anybody, go to the bank, challenge you. Take your $5,000, $10,000 to the bank, give it to them, leave, come back in an hour and say, mm, I don't think I need it back. You're not going to get it back. They're going to give you a bank check because they've already put that in all of the credit cards and the houses and the car notes. And that brings us to this time of the year. We got to stop learning how to spend so much, and we need to build and
Well,
save.
that's exactly why you're on the show, because we know that this is one of the most expensive times of the year where we go spend a lot of money and gift giving and give credit to somebody who don't even look like us.
No. And the
Okay.
thing is that the money, even if we did pay attention to how we spend, we don't spend it with ourselves. We don't put it into our community. That was one of the beauties of Black Wall Street, was that a dollar lasted in the community anywhere from 3 to 5 years. The dollar
Wow.
doesn't last more than, maybe, I would say, 40 minutes in our community. You used to say at least 4 hours, but I don't even think that, because most of the people that we give our money to don't live in our community. And so therefore, how are we feeding our community? And the thing is, that's why I love the whole concept. Brother Ron Karenga came up with Kwanzaa, because these were gifts that you gave, but you gave because you made them. It had to have meaning to them. You know, I tell anyone during this holiday season, we have a tendency, we go out and we buy all of this stuff, and we teach our children to go buy. We go and get something. Santa, which that's another story about
Yeah.
Santa. We think that Santa's going to bring us all of this stuff, so we want stuff. I would challenge anyone to think about last year during this holiday. What'd you get? You might not remember what you got, but you do remember who you were with. So, what's more important? The people that you're with, and the talking and the conversations. You don't have to always go out and do this big spending on money that you don't even have, especially now. One gift, I love that concept. Instead, give yourself. There are things that you could do. How about, alrighty, I don't have a lot of money. How about if I wash your car? I'll do let me come to your house and do the dishes. You know,
Hmm. Hmm.
I'll, let's go take a walk. Let's walk together. Some people say, well, that's just cheap. No, it's what's meaningful. And that's what this is all about in this world, is about doing meaningful things and
But
building legacies.
actually, it's not cheap because you save monies, and all doctors suggest that one take a walk. But right now, it appears that people go from the house to the car to the mall back to the car,
Yep.
back to the house, and then that's it.
And then we get sick and we die and we leave nothing. And we do the GoFundMe account because we don't have any insurance. We don't have our retirement account set up. We just haven't done anything for ourselves or building our legacy. We spent last year $1.7 trillion. That's with a T, trillion.
That is African Americans.
That's right. People of color. We've given so much, but how much of that was kept in our community? How do we know? Right now, we're scared to death. A lot of us in our community are about putting money into the market. Well, guess what? You already in the market. As soon as you start to breathe, you in the market. You know, if you think about it, for the day, you go out, you get in your car. Oh, you got gas. Okay, so that there's a market for that. That's money in the market. Okay, you then stop off and you either go to some of these Dunkin' Donuts or whatever, or you go to Starbucks. Hmm, that's a market. You're putting money into the market. You're just not getting anything back. You should be, if you, like, I've had clients that say, oh, I love Starbucks. I said, that's great. How much stock do you own in it? I take my kids to Disney. Okay, so how much stock do you own in it? We are tripping over Wakanda forever. These are millions and millions of dollars. How many of y'all have, Disney stock? Because that's what it is now.
Mm-hmm.
But how
Mm-hmm.
many have Disney stock? Do you own anything that's going to give back to you? We go to Target, we go to H&M. H&M disrespected us to no end. Had our little baby out there, young man, little boy, and
Yeah,
had him
the
in
image.
a
Yeah.
monkey suit. No,
Yep. Yep.
but what we do, we give them more money. How about if we budgeted? And this is where the solution comes in, is that there's a few little things we can do to make it fun. Number one, we don't use Federal Reserve notes anymore. You could probably, get $1 billion if you walked up to someone and say, I'll give you $1 billion if you've got $1 or you got $20. Because we don't carry money. We carry credit cards. We carry debit cards. We don't carry cash. So the key is though, if we did, we would be able to spend less. Because when you break a $20 bill, we become magicians like David Copperfield. Because as soon as that $20 get cash, it goes poof. It's
Yeah. Just disappears.
So if we changed our mindset just a little bit, I don't want to take away all the holiday giving gifts and all of that stuff. But first of all, you can give part of yourself. That's one thing. But the other thing is set your budget. Now, all of y'all are going to be out there running around and you're going to pay high prices, because you're late, because you should have been shopping around October when the sales were going. But there are some deals out there. But what's wrong with getting one gift and then for your child, put away some money on the side to have something for their future, or for yourself, for your retirement? You don't have to spend a whole lot, but if you just put away as little as $100 a month for retirement, or for those that I'm going on, because they're bringing back the child tax credit on taxes, that's $2,000 for each child.
Mm-hmm.
Could you put that 2,000? Do you know, if you put that $2,000 away a year for that child would be a millionaire by the time they get ready to retire?
Is that based upon the concept of compound interest?
Very much so. That's that rule of 72. Build your money, you know, and be conscious of what you're spending and where you're spending it. I just think that at this point now, we're in a tight squeeze. They say we're not in a recession yet. Well, we are, in my opinion. We are in a recession. Two recessions in a quarter back to back would create a depression. I don't think we'll ever go to the depression side. I think that the government will try to pull that back a bit, but we need to take control of for ourselves and say, I'm not going out here spending all over the place with nonsense. We'll go, if it's a toy, find that one toy for the child, and they'll appreciate it. You know, Instead of having a bunch of toys, and then they wind up playing with the box.
I was going to say they broke about 3 to 6 months later.
That's
You know
it.
what I'm saying?
But
But
how?
all of this seemed to start with the Thanksgiving. It's on a Thursday. Then the next day, Friday, they have Black Friday, which means go out there and spend all your money, get all the sales and whatnot.
And
And
they're not even all that great of a sale, but in your head, someone told you that it's a sale, and you believed it. You know,
and you
I
party
saw,
with your hard-earned money.
yeah, I saw so many. I went to Best Buy, not to name, but to name, and I was in shock at how many TVs. Okay, you got the the 30 inch, then you got the 50 inch, then you got the 70 inch, and I'm like, you ain't even home because you got to work. So,
Listen, I even saw something where they have a TV now for outdoors, a back door, where you can put it outside and stuff like that.
I tell you, and that's why they call it an idiot box because you
I got
doing
you.
some idiot stuff.
I got
What
you.
more would be that if you put away as little as it's, depending upon your age, but young folks, if they put away like 120, and that's in the book also, 120 dollars a month, you have enough money to have $1 million. Now, $1 million for retirement, some would say, um, that's a great, or they may say that's not so great. That's not enough. But on $1 million, if you think about taking 4% of that, that's $40,000 every year that you can live on. In addition to your Social Security, your pensions, how many wouldn't want that? And can do it. You can do it. It's just tightening the belt a bit, you know.
Why is it, Dr. Woodhouse, you think that they don't teach financial education in the school system? And out of 50 states, only a handful, I think less than 10, and New York is certainly not one of them, that teaches financial literacy.
That's it. Because I hate to say it, but it's like the sheep being led to the slaughter. If you know better, you will do better. But if you don't know, you're not going to do it. You don't understand it, so you don't do it. If I tell folks that you could take an insurance policy, as soon as you say insurance, everybody say, oh, that's just death. That's going to be death. And I'm
Yep.
like, no, it's not. Did you ever know there's a living benefit to life insurance? That you could put away money into a policy. And to me, it's even better than doing a 401k plan. But, that being said, you could put that money away, and through the years, you build it up. And now you have a tax free income for retirement.
Tax free.
Tax free, tax free. You know, there are things you need to talk to a financial advisor. It is so important to get educated. But the reason why it's not taught in schools, and now they have financial literacy classes and they're teaching you how to write a check. We don't write checks anymore. So, we carry cards, we tap. I just
Yep.
want,
Yep.
so why? Why? Because then at that point we become consumers. We stay consumers. It's like I tell the story. I had this young man in my office at the time. I'm sure he's almost grown now, but he was like 8 years old. And he was, sitting down. And I love for people to bring their children to the financial strategies that I do with the parents. So he's sitting there, and so mother went to the restroom. I said, so what do you think about what you heard? He said, I don't get it. I just don't get it. And I said, what don't you get? He said, why do I need to do all of this when I get 18, I'm going to get the money card? So I said, the money card? He said, yes. Don't you know about the money card? What's wrong with you? You know how kids can get. And
Yeah.
so his mother came back in, and I said, he's talking about a money card. What kind of, so she says, what are you talking about? He said, the card, the one that you tell me that when we're going by, we got to go stop at the bank because you take the card out. See, our children are looking at us, and take the card out, and then you get money out of it. So when I turn 18, I'm going to get this card, and I just go to the bank and I go
Yeah.
get money out. So why I
And
got to do this stuff that this lady doing? Because it was never taught about the fact that mommy had to go to work, and then there's a paycheck that goes in.
into
You
that
know,
account. Yeah.
and then we get to pull the money out. So we don't even have a relationship with our money, and that's the hard part. So during this holiday season, if we just would spend a little time setting a budget and stick to it, and then be able to pay yourself first. I know we've heard this time and time again, pay yourself first. What does that mean? That means before you pay the bills, look and see how much money can you put in to something, be it an investment, be it a savings account. We're supposed to have, in case of an emergency, at least 3 to 6 months worth of our take home pay. How many of us have done that? You know, these are the things that we need to do, and stop with the foolishness. You're getting all of this stuff you're buying. As soon as they come out with the newest cell phone, you know, we go get it. Is it, iPhone 14? Okay. It's got a
I
good
heard
camera.
about that, and I understand one of them is almost $1,400. Really?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. And I have clients of mine who are wealthy, and some of them still have a flip phone.
And
You
that's
know,
probably why they're staying wealthy too, believe
that's
it or
right,
not.
because that's what the focus is. It's not about being the newest or keeping up with the Joneses. It's keeping up with yourself.
Why is it you think that we are so caught up on getting brand names, Gucci's and this and that? And I think you said that where you used to live in the Bronx, one of people in your development had a Maybach or something or some
Yeah, and I'm still trying to figure that one out. you know,
Maybach. That's like
that's
really.
real money. But the thing is that it's it's the mentality. And again, we come from historically, we come from very wealthy thought of people, from ancient Kemet all the way to being in Ghana, Nigeria, Sangay, all of those wonderful areas. You know, we come with riches. I know when being in Senegal, I saw women in the market, and I thought they were going out to hang out instead of walking around in the street. Richness, jewelry, that's in our DNA. But the thing is that it doesn't solve anything when it goes away. It's all gone,
Hmm,
or you
hmm.
can't leave it to the next generation. I've seen, like, right now, everybody's on the cryptocurrency run
I
of the,
was going to ask you about that too.
and I tell folks, I said, look, it's kind of simple. This is how you handle it. First of all, you do what's called a financial needs analysis, and I give that to clients free of charge.
Can you back that up? Financial need
Needs
analysis?
analysis, yes.
Okay. Hmm,
It's where you are and then where you want to be. So
hmm.
it's a roadmap to where you are, because a lot of times we don't know where we're at. I sit down and many a times with individuals, and they will say, when I finish the financial needs, it's a budget. It's to show how much money they have at the end of the month. And they're like, that's impossible. I don't have that much money left. Well, then where is it going? Because you just gave me all your bills, and you know where it goes. Have you ever thought about how many people I've had my clients do this? Don't don't um don't buy lunch. Take it take lunch to work. Because the average lunch, especially here in New York, is like $15. So it just add that up in a week. You're over $100 spending.
Times 52 weeks.
There you go. Where'd that
We're
money
talking
go?
about over 5 grand just
There
on
you
lunch, not dinner or breakfast.
No, you didn't even eat dinner. And then let's not go to breakfast, because that's another thing that we do. We got to go pick up something
Coffee,
instead.
donuts,
The
something.
coffee. What's wrong with now? They've got all of the coffees. You can make it at home. Make it at home. Take it in your little thermos and your drink thing, and have fun. Save it, because you know all these things with the cars. The cars, another thing. People have, like I said, I've seen folks, especially passing by the projects, the BMWs, the Mercedes, all those things are there, and you're paying in excess of $1,000 a month for something that
That's
depreciates,
crazy.
you know, and you don't have anything put away for your future. Because I hate to tell everyone, but it's the truth. You're going to live. Okay, you're going to live probably long. And if that's the case, like they said, the 60s are the 50s, the 50s are the 40s, the 40s are the 30s. We're
Mm-hmm.
living
Mm-hmm.
longer, we're looking great, but okay, the National Geographic had a cover, and on the cover it said this baby could live to be 125 years old. It's not the living, it's how you're going to live. What do you have to show? People say, well, I have my pension. Okay, your pension, how much is that? And so it's like, well, I don't know, I get about 50 to 60% of what I'm making. Well, if you're not living on 100%, how are you going to live on the 50 or 60% of that pension? Plus, you got to now pay Uncle Sam, and if you're in New York, you got to pay the government, the state and local. So, and then the real thing is that your pension, when you get ready to take Social Security, guess what? Your Social Security can be taxed up to 85% of it be taxed. You back in a bind.
Question:
Hmm.
have people in your experience of coming to you, have there ever been some clients or whatever that got nerve to get angry or indignant at the advice you try to give them to help them out?
Yeah, that's first of all, they'll tell me that I must be out of my mind because their situation is not what it is, and I do bring it to the point of, because I have software that allows us to see what your future really looks like, and can
Mm-hmm.
you live off of this. But more so, with people, instead of getting angry, they just don't come back. They're like, or, and I'm going to call it out, in our community, why we need people that look like us. It's important. But also, the sad part is we have people who look like us, and then they give us advice. And then we go somebody else to the vanilla folks, or to do the business, but come back and tell us we were right.
After they do it with someone else.
Did it with someone else. I've had that happen through the years, and you get used to it after a while. But it you know, it's like, why would you do it? The same thing is because I just don't do investments, but I also handle taxes. And I'm gonna tell you now, you got the 411. The world of taxation is really changing, and we got to stop that other thing too. What we do, we're looking for the refund. You know what a refund is? It means you paid somebody too much money and they're giving it back to you with no interest. Who does that?
Now, you know what? I had never thought about it like that, but everybody be rushing to say, okay, let me file early to get my refund. But I hadn't looked at it that way, that you overpaid. And when you do get back the money, there's no interest that has been accrued, but somebody that's held that money that was accrued makes a lot of interest on it.
They
And if,
did. This
and if,
is, I'll tell you a quick example because they only play it in our community. There's a tax company that talks about Larry. Larry's getting this $10,000 refund and he's standing on the table dancing. And I said, I need to knock Larry off that doggone table because that's $833.33 a month that he could have put in his own pocket. But instead, he lets the government hold it for him and then give it back to him with no interest.
couldn't he have put that in an interest bearing account?
Interest bearing, he could have put it in the market, he could have invested it, it could have done anything. And that's quickly, because I know I didn't speak on those doggone cryptocurrency. Until you get all of your, what I call safe money, taken care of, means you've got your emergency fund, you've got your life insurance, you took care of your debt, you've gotten your legacy built, you're building wealth, you've got your will, you've got your health proxies, you've done all the stuff that you need to do to put your life financial world together. Then you can go gamble on some cryptocurrency. Because if you think IRS doesn't know that it exists and that you're getting over, because that was one of the classes I took this year, was about cryptocurrency, and everybody's saying, oh, I don't have to pay taxes on that. That's a lie. And think about it, Uncle Sam, on your tax return, first they started out about 4 years ago, they said, do you know about cryptocurrency? Just check the box. Then the next time year it came and said, do you invest in cryptocurrency or any virtual currency? Check the box. Then the next box it said, did you receive any cryptocurrency or virtual coins at all this year? Did you receive? Why? Because this is a monitoring of income. So all of this is being done. And now, if you think about it, when you sign your tax return, it says under perjury if you lie. So they got you. They've got you. You don't tell it, they have a right to come back and get you. So why
I,
do?
I understand they're even doing that now with Cash App, PayPal,
Oh, that's another.
all these other venues or whatever.
Well, what happens is that for the longest, Cash App, Zelle, Venmo, all of them, they it was mandatory for them to report anything over $20,000 worth of income. Anything under that, they did not have to send you a 1099K. Well, they've changed that. Our legislators have changed it that they have to report anything over $600.
Hold up, from a high of $20,000 to now a low of $600.
600. So that's a lot of folks that receive, people, even to the extent of sometimes you've loaned somebody money and then they send it back to you. That's going to be there. So you got to be able to deal with it and answer it. And if you don't, they're going to say, well, you received it. Why aren't you paying taxes on it?
Question.
Mm-hmm.
Um, at one point, cars used to be on average 3-year notes.
Mm.
12, 14, 12, 24, 48, whatever, 36, 48 months. Now the average note for a brand new car is 6 years.
Yeah, because we get more interest if you do that. You pay more. You'll pay about 3 times the amount of that car.
Really?
Think of the rule of 72 and the interest rate. You're going to pay more. It's just like when you buy your home and you got 30 years, a 30-year mortgage, and everybody's like, oh, I got 30 years to pay. Yeah, but you're going to pay 3 times the amount of that home in interest. You're going to pay that's how it will grow. And the banks, the financial institutions are making the money, and you don't think that having cash or saving enough so that you can get it because we want it now instead of I gotta wait and save for it. That's our thought.
I've spoke with a gentleman not too long ago. He was in jeopardy of really losing his home. He's about close to losing his home, a 30-year mortgage. And when I asked him how long he had been there, he said he had been in that home 28 years. That it took me a minute to wrap my head around that. Here it is, he's almost 2 years shy from crossing the finish line, and now he's in debt or in jeopardy of the bank taking his house.
But the thing
There's
is
no
that
consideration.
that is if he had been on that path and stayed on it. But most of the time, we don't stay on the path of the 30 years. Somewhere around five
What do you
years,
mean? Yeah, what do you mean when you
I
don't
got
stand
it.
back?
I'm getting ready to tell you is
Okay,
that
good, good.
instead of you staying on and paying every month, every year for the 30 years and then be finished with it. No, somewhere in the middle or in the beginning, we decide to do something called refinance our home and take cash out of it. Because there's only two ways to get money out of a house. Either you're going to take an equity out or you're going to sell it. That's how you get your money out. If you're going to keep it, you have to refi, which means create another loan and therefore that pushes you back. So where you say is that he was 2 years to being done, but he wasn't, because probably somewhere in there he's taken a few equity loans and pushed it back.
So he's got a loan on top of a loan on top of a loan.
Right. And they people use it. Should I have seen folks use their home like ATM machines? But that stops because Uncle Sam now got this with the taxes. And so you have to be careful what is deductible. With the tax laws the way they are from our previous president, um, we have it whereas your real estate tax, which is going up, is only deductible up to $10,000. That's including what you withheld from your paycheck together. That state tax, it's called SALT, state and local tax. It is one of where you only get to deduct 10,000. If you earned 100,000 plus had a home, you probably are in excess of about 15,000 that you paid out, but you're only allowed to deduct the 10. And then with the mortgages, homes are more expensive now. So with that same CARES Act that was out there, if you have a home that is more than $750,000, you can't deduct all of your interest, all your real estate interest. These are just some of the laws that are out here that are not conducive to John Q. Public.
Wasn't there one time you were able to deduct the entire interest,
Sure,
the real estate taxes? No?
that's gone too.
Really?
Because remember, we had a president that said that we should have what's called standard deduction. That means that it is just, you don't have any deductions, you don't take contributions, you don't take your medical bills, you don't take your mortgage interest, your taxes. We're just going to calculate a flat tax. That's what it's going to be. That's all you're going to do.
But
So,
that used to be the pride and joy of homeowners, to be
right.
able to deduct for this, to be able to deduct for that versus apartment dwellers.
Yes, but the thing is now is that especially here in New York, the most attractive piece is to have rental property where you're renting to someone, but then you've got some issues there because if you're a landlord, you might have to fight a bit to get your money these days because people with their credit, where we started with their credit, aren't able to sustain even having a dwelling to live in. The average rent in New York for a one bedroom is somewhere around 2,500 to 3,000 a month.
You know what's interesting? There is a building that's being constructed literally across from me, and I was told by one of the people constructing it that the one bedroom, I think the first about 3 or 4 floors is going to be $4,000 a month for a one bedroom.
Lord have mercy.
The levels above that, 2 bedrooms, will be almost 6,000 a month. Who has that kind of money other than
Other
farm
folks,
investors and huh?
other folks, just
Yeah,
not
yeah.
not the Main Street America person. It is one of those things that first and foremost, I will say to anyone, you need to have a financial advisor and a tax accountant that will work with you, not just prepare the tax returns, but really counsel you. You need someone to talk to because if not, if you don't have that, you don't have a plan, then you are definitely planning to fail. And if you don't understand how money works, then therefore you will be the sucker. And you think about it, the reason why that book is titled that is that when you go to the bank and you look to the left at the teller, to the right, there's usually lollipops. And they used to, before we came out with the book, it was, they were dum dums. So they were telling you subliminally what they think.
Sucker.
Sucker, you know. And it is when you think about the fact that we don't know what's going on with our money. We've got to be more conscious of it, and this way we can afford to live the life that we deserve.
That was my bringing up my question though. How does one who might be listening to this program and they feel they're so deep in the financial hole with their credit, access to resources or money or loan, how do they start to climb out of it? Are there stages? I know they need to see persons like you, who's a financial educator and consultant. That's for sure. How
Mhm.
do they begin the process? And for those that are used to things happening instant, just say water, I don't think it happens like that in the real world.
Well, you know what we really need to do is that we got to remember about what I think it was Martin Luther King said, that we have chaos or community. We need to get back to community. We need to start to look at stop being the secret agent. Nobody wants to know, ain't nobody business how bad I'm doing, whatever. Get to start to talk. And it's just like when people get diagnosed with cancer, they go to the silent mode. They don't want, no, don't talk about it. No, it's just like that with your finances. You got to talk about it. You need some help, reach out, get the help. Contact financial advisors that will, some won't. I'm going to tell you, my industry can get ridiculous because sometimes they don't want to talk to folks that don't have at least $100,000 income and $500,000 to invest. But that's not my market. My market is to help my folks to get through and to be able to help them get to the point of financial freedom. We can do it. You know, I watch groups, it's now happening more so is that people they go away to college, they got a college loan, ridiculous, because you don't have to have a college loan, but if no one told you you didn't need it, you can, there's plenty of money out there for you, but someone has to tell you where to go. But you go to college, come back. What do? They come back and then they come back with other people to live in the house. you know, it's like it's it's overwhelming. So if we're going to live together for a while and have a plan, then I remember there was one of my associates years back. His whole family, it was like 8 of them lived together, but they slowly put their money together so that they pop out a house, buy a house, another one buy a house, another one buy a house. And before they knew it, they all had houses. Now, with that, they just have to keep it going. But that's why we have to do our budgeting. We really do.
This comment person here, they said that they were at a dealership last weekend and people were signing $700 a month car notes.
How
Now
much?
we're talking about $700 a month for a car note. I've
Oh,
heard people pay even more than that too. But what has got to me was, and it's been a while since I've had a car, that a car, when you get it new, it was a given, it was a 3-year loan. Now they've doubled it.
that's it. It's 6 years and $700. You think about it. You took even half of that, $350, and put it away and invested it or put it towards your retirement plan and maybe saved on some taxes. Um, and there you are. You can create an income of an additional maybe $3,000, $4,000 a month when you get ready to retire. Or if you put it in proper vehicles, you could have it where it comes out tax free. Come on, guys, y'all! Just $700 for a car that depreciates. Y'all know what
As soon
depreciation.
as you drive it off the lot,
Soon as you do,
yeah,
drive it back and tell them you want your money back and see what the value of it is.
it's not going to be the same.
Not at all. Not at
But
all.
let me ask you this though. So people trying to get out the hole, obviously, the better the credit score, the cheaper money is when it comes to getting loans, et cetera, et cetera. So how do they go about getting the credit score? And by the way, what is the average credit score in this country, regardless, black, white, or indifferent?
The average they have is that you need to be at least a 670, because you can get every 670 in the score. That's not necessarily what people all have. We have people who have 800, and then we have folks who are like 400. You
Yeah.
know, um, the key is to pull your credit report, and this is one thing I'll definitely go on is that you get a free credit report every year, annually. It's free. You go to annualcreditreport.com. It's there. You can get that. You can look at what's on there. You need to look and see what's on it because there's a lot of identity theft taking place right now. There are people who have stolen folks' social security number and then drawn unemployment off of it. So you need to check your credit report. Yeah, I know. You got to check your credit report. Be proactive. Look at it to see what's on your bill. I'll tell you a little secret is that most things will fall off after 10 years but of being on your report. But it's what happens is the debt collectors will call you. And as soon as you answer and you talk to them and you make arrangements, it starts the clock again. So you could,
Wow.
yeah, so that's when, and they bought it. Remember what they've done. You had an agreement, and that's another thing. You had an agreement, let's say, with a store, maybe Macy's, and then you defaulted. They got paid, they wrote it off, and then they sold it to somebody else for like 25 cents on a dollar. So now they've gotten money and they've sold it. So that person's calling you and annoying you. And then they sell it to somebody else. And you still are on the hook for the bill that they've been able to write off.
And I was going to say, and everybody's made their money.
Yeah, they've gotten it. And you are now got the worst credit score in the world because of it.
Now, in our communities, a lot of times there are advertisers about they can loan you money. They'll loan you money in between your pay periods and stuff like
Those
that.
pay,
What would
yeah,
you advise? What would you
no, no,
advise with
no,
stuff
no,
like that?
no. Look at the interest rate of those pay loans. Look at the interest rate for them. Some of them have interest rates 30, 40, 50. There are some payday loans, which they're really outlawed in New York. They're up to 300%.
Huh?
Think of the rule of 72 on that one. That means like every 3 minutes, your money is getting ready to, your debt is growing. We've got to
That means you
stop.
would never get out of debt.
You won't.
Not in
That's
this
the whole
lifetime,
purpose.
anyway.
That's the purpose. The more the debt, the better the businesses do, but not you.
So you're saying that if people were gonna, since we're in the holidays where this is one of the most spendable times that we do in to give gifts, it's almost as if we are made to think that if we don't give a gift, that we're going to be shamed because we didn't give anything. Um, how do you get past that for people who have been programmed like that? That, oh, I got to give a gift for this one, got to give a gift for that one, and can't you say, well, listen, I don't have it this year because everybody's struggling.
Everybody's tight. Get real. That's why I said is let's get truthful with each other. Let's get real with each other and do something special. If you're good at baking, please be good at it. Okay. But you could easily bake a cake, bake a pie, give something that took something that gave from you, you know. I know one of my friends said to me, he said he made a card. He made some cards and people just like threw it to the side. But talk to them and tell them, give love, give that concern. What can I do to help? It may be I'll take you shopping. Those things mean a lot more. That's why I said in the beginning, there were many a people, when you think about last year during the holidays, what did you get? Most people don't remember what they got, but they do remember who was with them and what they said. Sometimes it wasn't all that nice either, but they do remember. So we've got to change the mindset. There's an old adage that says, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? It's the thought.
That is true. That is very, very true. And you know what? Really, in this country, almost every month, with the exception, I think, of August, has a holiday to spend money.
Oh, yeah. They even
President's
make up
Day
some.
in January. Then there's Valentine's Day in February. Then there's
Yes.
St. Patrick's Day in March. Then
March,
there's Easter in April. And then there's the what's the start to the summer?
the May, spring. Yep. Hmm.
Yeah. Then there's weddings and graduations, and then there's July 4th. Okay, so then in
And
September,
spin, spin, spin. You know.
yeah, and there's Labor Day, and then
Yep.
there's
And labor.
Halloween, and then there's
There's sales. You know,
yeah,
it's
there's
interesting because September is Life Insurance Awareness Month, and nobody ever hears about that. And then there's October is Financial Literacy Month. Nobody talks about that either. So, you know, we need to start talking about the things that will make our lives better.
I tell you, Dr. Woodhouse, our time is up, but hold up, 1 second, and let me see. This is the book. Now,
Yeah,
this is the book that's very, very important. You want to talk about this book a second, please?
sure. I'll give a quick second to it. It's a wonderful book. It's an easy read. You know, they tell you that if you want to hide something, put it in a book. Well, this book is all of 128 pages, and a lot of it is just pictures. But the key is it gives you the fundamentals of how money works. And there's already in distribution over 600,000 books. And if you want a book, all you got to do is reach out to me at Anaj Enterprises Inc. Some of you have, I know, because I see some of you have asked for the book, and we're glad to send it. It is no cost. It is truly free. I used to say free 99, and then people thought I was saying 3.99. So I'm saying it's free. It's free. You just send an email to Anaj Enterprises Inc. at gmail.com.
Hold on, let's put up your banner, please, so
Okay.
people can get this straight right there. Where should
There
they
we
see
go.
this at, Doctor?
Send it to me or call the office and say you'd like a book, and we'll be glad to send it to you. And all I ask is that you read it. And then if you'd like to let me know what impacted you, what was the thought? And if you'd like a free 99, again, financial analysis, I will do it. Someone in my offices, we have it available to see where you are. Because once you read the book, you're going to see there's a thing called the discovery call. And it's to discover where you are and where you'd like to go. How can you get there? Can you get there? So that's what I offer to you for free. Let you know that this is a way that you can move forward. There's no obligation, so you don't have to do any business with me, but you will get a free financial analysis.
Well, I'll tell you this, Dr. Woodhouse, when you gave me this book when I sat in your office and I went home and read it, I never looked at money the same since then.
I'm so glad.
I swear, I've never looked at money the same way. I've become more conscious. And maybe that's what this book is about, to be conscious of how you're spending, where
Yes.
your money's going, where it's being invested, how
Hmm.
you're doing it. And then we want to know why we're starving in the midst of plenty when we are worth as a collective of African Americans in this country, 1 point something trillion. That's nothing to sneeze at. That in and of itself is more than some countries make
That's
totally.
it. More than what Spain spent last year. So we need to get our act together, and definitely in addition to it, while I see there's a lot of people online, is to say don't, and please stop selling grandma's gold and silver. Keep it, hold it. It's important. There's a reason behind it. And definitely, if you get a chance, you can listen to me on Soul City Network, Facebook, and YouTube on Thursday at 6 p.m. And this Thursday, we're going to be talking about taxes. I'm going to break down the tax changes and how you can win dealing in the tax world.
Now, how can they tune into you this Thursday, please?
Yeah, this Thursday, it's always on Facebook at Access Wealth Nation. Access Wealth Nation on Facebook and on YouTube. Same thing, Access Wealth Nation. And my goal is to bring financial literacy, come hook a crook, the best way I can to make sure that we know better so that we can do better.
The way and the way it's going, we're probably not going to have too much choice unless we really wake up and become conscious. But let me tell you this: please get this book, and the fact that she offers it free, okay, you have no excuses. But I'm telling you, if you read this book the way I read it, you will look at how your money comes, how your money goes out, and how you can put it in something that bears some interest at all. And banks are, is that why it takes banks forever today? You'll put in a check and then it'll take a couple of days to clear
It's
because the
called
bank has the
float.
money,
It's called float. They float and they float it. Yep.
or
That's
they
what it's
be
all
floating it
about.
big time. Okay.
They do. And I saw a little note here that someone said is that can you get 12%? Where are you going to get that? Do you know and realize that the market itself from the time 2008 to now, before we had this last little snafu, we were
Mm-hmm.
doing somewhere about almost 100% return on money, and the S&P 500 over its existence has averaged 9%. We just need to be more conscious of where we put our money. Instead of giving it to the bank at less than 1% and then getting it back by they're floating. They float, and that's it now even more because I've just noticed years ago, we used to, over the years, we've been able to put a check in the bank and it would clear right away. Now it takes a few days. Why? Because they
Yes.
make their money on your money.
One person asked this before I let you go: Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. Which one is better, or are they all the same?
They all work together. They're all together. You need all three. You want to get your ratings. Again, you can get it free on the free finance. What is it? Free credit report. It doesn't say free. You got to go in there. It says national. It's American Credit Report, I believe it is. But if not, y'all can email me and I'll get the site for you. But you can get that, and it will give you all three reports. And then if you want your score, you can get that too. But you have to pay for that score. I think it's like $7. But the thing is, you need to know where you're standing. You need to know where things, there may be stuff on your report that needs to come off, that it wasn't even yours. It was grandma's.
So,
Okay.
in other words, you're saying it behooves every one of us who have a credit score to begin to take and be proactive and look into see exactly what's on it.
That's right.
Stephen Williams out of Chicago, he says medical ID theft is huge also. Will use your medical insurance to pay for procedures that aren't yours.
That's
Is that
right.
true too?
As soon as they can get that number, your social security card, they go rampant. And that's the whole thing is that, but if you're not paying attention, or put alerts, you should put alerts on your cards, put alerts on your, that people can't use your social security number without you knowing it. But like you said, this is great, right, Stephen? This is that the medical ID is crazy, you know people, and this is
And
not,
medical is very expensive.
and you know what, it's not really, it's internal stuff going on in the hospitals and stuff where people are setting these things up. You've got to be aware. You can't play, oh well, it was, I didn't know. No, go look, and then react. Put, there's things that you can do to protect yourself, because if it's there and you do nothing, they're going to keep using it.
Now, I want to ask you this question. With my Experian, TransUnion, whatever, they said my score was one thing, but my bank said my score was another, and it was far lower. Does that
Hmm.
happen?
It does at times, depending upon who is looking at what they're looking at. But it should be, if it's the same three reporting agencies, those should be the same.
Yeah.
So if that's the problem, you can report, because there may be something that their one reporting agency is holding than the other. So it could be where you had a late payment and it should have fallen off or something, and it didn't. And one, so you've got to take a look. A matter of fact, pull your credit report, come see me.
One last thing before I let you go, so people can protect themselves. How does people go about alerting whatever financial institutions they're dealing with? Do most institutions now have this alert factor that if somebody's trying to use your social security, you will get an automatic alert so
You
you're
can
not
put
taken
that on
advantage of?
all of your cards. You can set it up. Also, I would say to you is that two places you should always go. First, go to the free credit report to see what's on it. The second one is unclaimed funds, because there are times that you are missing money, and it's money that's sitting out. There's billions of dollars that have been sent out and people don't know that they could claim it. You don't only go for yourself, you go for your family too. If your parents are deceased, go look it up, because there may be money. There's gold mines there. But also put the alert on. Look at it ever so often. You can look at it like every 3 months. Just look to see what your credit report looks like. And
Mhm.
if there's an error, then you need to report it to those agencies that they have an error, and you can get it taken off. And be very careful, especially right now. I have seen a lot of folks, especially those that worked during the pandemic, that some people have gotten a hold of their social security and they received unemployment under your social security number. You didn't even apply for it. And then you have to go and prove this is identity theft. So you got to be on the alert. Take a look and see. You can always get a report on your social security. You can get a report, that's ssa.gov. Go to the unemployment in your area just to look to see if there was any claims that you didn't make. Because this year, what happened is, not only I had a few clients of mine who had that happen, the social security was claimed, not social security, the unemployment was claimed, and then when they corrected it, doggone state of New York sent the back money to the thieves again. You got to stay on this, because I can't even make this up. This is just ridiculous of what's happening
I
right
I tell you, Dr. Woodhouse, this has been amazing. I know I'm only supposed to be an hour, but and I still got questions, but we ain't gonna go there. I'm
now.
gonna
That's
give
okay.
you
I
a
can come back,
break.
and then you can come on my show.
Good, and I am gonna have you back. So once everybody's complaining how broke they are from spending all that money, despite the advice you gave them, they still gonna go ahead and do it anyway. But we, for us to have that kind of spending power, and yet we're scrambling makes absolutely no
No,
sense at all.
none
I mean,
at
there's a
all.
total disconnect. There's, to do that, and yet other people will have no problems coming in our communities, making money, and prospering and growing, and the stores are expanding and getting bigger, and
Yeah.
all the other bells and whistles they putting to it, and us leaving all those pennies behind too. Because I wrote a
Oh,
piece called
it's
"The
so.
Power of the Penny."
We have so much power that we don't know. Do you know that it was on in an article on the Wall Street Journal about 3 years ago, when our sisters started taking their hair natural, going natural, and braiding, and it disrupted the entire industry. They lost $3 billion off of women just stopped using the relaxers and stuff and going natural. What did they do? They came out with a product. Johnson and Johnson, Procter and Gamble, all of them came out with extend your curls. And what did we do? We went running back. We could have kept doing what we were doing, using the shea butter and the berries, and it would have taken them out of the entire industry.
That is amazing. So just the power of our women alone caused
Yeah,
them to get a knee jerk reaction like that.
that's it. We got power. We just don't know it. If we just stopped, there was, and I'll make this one point, is that sneakers. I remember watching at It was on 125th Street. People were standing in the lines, and I thought it was giving something away for free. So I jump out my car. I'm like, "What's going on?" It was for some. It was for the sneakers, the Jordans that
Yeah,
were
the
coming out.
retros. Yeah.
Yeah, and I looked up to see how much it costs to produce those sneakers. About $15, but they sell them for 300.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So we could easily. I remember one of the basketball players at one time had a store that had everything cut. You could get a pair of jeans for $7. You got sneakers, they were like $15, $20. And he didn't do well because everybody wants those name brands. But the only thing that I'll say is that by having somebody else's name on your body, how much does that bring to you? You could have it where it's your name on it, and then you'll see how much money you generate.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, I want to thank you so, so much for this. I am not finished by no stretch of the imagination. In fact, I'm getting started, but I'm going to have you back on. Now,
Thank
people
you
can
so
hear
much.
you every Thursday. Can you explain where people can hear you again on
Yes,
social
every
media
Thursday
network?
at 6 p.m., you go on Access Wealth Nation on Facebook and Access, just put in Access Wealth Nation on YouTube, and you'll be able to hear my show. It's on the Soul City Network also, which is run by and Black owned network, uh,
Matt McCoy,
Matt
my
McCoy,
buddy. Yep.
and he has multiple types of urban um, uh, different types of shows that are on there. But my show, you can see it also. That gets edited and then put up on Soul City because it's a TV network on Roku, Comcast, Verizon. Look up and get. Matter of fact, I have the app even on Apple TV. You can see the logo. It's Soul City. Oops, getting ready to show the show. But I just say to you, yes, on Thursdays at 6 p.m., I drop it at the wisdom and I say, get your checkup from the neck up so you can be financially free.
And I look forward to being a guest on your show again, as you've invited me before.
Oh,
So
definitely.
God bless you. Thank you. Thank you. We deal in numbers in totally different ways, but we see no matter what you do, you can't get around numbers.
That's
And
it.
they can be very costly in the world of business and finance.
But
That's for
thank
sure.
you so much for having me.
You're the best. Thanks, Dr. Woodhouse.
Have a good night.
Okay. So, everybody, I want to thank you very, very much for this. I do want to let you know that I was going to have, in fact, Dr. Woodhouse had just met somebody, and I was thinking about having her, but I'm going to have myself back on so I can do some readings for people. And, but I will have her on as a herbologist, and she's kind of in the pharmaceutical business. So, how does she mix both of those things together? But in the meantime, please sign up for the free monthly newsletter. You can get it now. Just go to lloyd-strayhorn.com. And for those of you who made, donations, Cash App, or whatever these things are that this platform offers, I do thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I do appreciate it very, very much. So, everybody, I want you to all have a very nice day. I look forward to seeing you on Wednesday. And by the way, make sure you reach out to Dr. Woodhouse and pick up this book. It is absolutely free. And I'm telling you, and by the way, the nice thing I like about it's a lot of illustrations. So if people don't like a lot of words, they got a lot of images, so you can get through past that book in no time. But it is what is said in this book that has to deal with money and how you look at your money that I think you will all come away a better person as a result of it. So God bless you, Dr. Woodhouse, and God bless all of you who want to do better with your finances, especially with things being so tight now economically. So everybody, I guess that's it for me, and I want y'all all to have a very nice day, and I will see you on